goodness.
I was just going to go back to the smoothie. You can hide just about anything.
You can.
Just don't let the kids watch you make it. But you know, if you have your berries.
And they love smoothies. They do. They love it.
Like you mentioned, spinach. Spinach has a very light flavor. You can throw a handful of spinach in the smoothie, and like I said, as long as they don't see you do it, they will drink it.
Yeah, it depends on how small they are, because sometimes when they're really little, they like colors. So if something is green, they're not going to really be turned off by it. It's the older kids that might be a little more squeamish about that. I want to talk a little bit about slow cookers. If you don't have one, run to Target and get one right now, because that is my lifesaver. I told you what my life is like. My slow cooker is my lifesaver, and we eat a lot of peas and beans in my house. We're from the Caribbean, look, we just do that. And there's always a pot of beans soaking on my counter, and there's probably, maybe I would say probably 4 days a week, there are beans in the slow cooker, making some stew peas or, you know, something like that. So make your slow cooker your friend, because one of my patients said to me, but Dr. Shepherd, you cook every single day? No, there is no way, but we're not eating out every week either, because we are preparing our food ahead of time and we are planning ahead of time, and so we're able to give our families the best that we can.
I have a question about frozen vegetables.
Yes, good question.
Are they, is the food value lost at all?
No, no. Frozen vegetables are not as great as fresh. Let's establish that. However, it's definitely better than canned, and it's definitely better than no vegetables at all. Okay, so again, busy mom, I stock up on frozen vegetables. Frozen vegetables are my life, because if I don't have frozen vegetables, I don't think I could actually manage to get through a week without frozen vegetables. So I absolutely recommend them.
What I do, and what I've learned to, is cook either the Saturday before the previous week, or that Sunday, cook a one-dish casserole and then a slow cooker meal. My meals for the entire week are already done.
Yes. Yep.
And you know, even if I have to leave or go somewhere and my husband has to intervene, he doesn't have to think and scratch his head like, what am I going to feed these kids? He goes in and he pops it in the oven. So that's just one quick thing. It's really helpful.
That is a wonderful thing, and it all goes back to planning. So let's go on to the next thing, carbs. Absolutely. Don't let anybody tell you that carbs are bad. Carbs are great, but we need to make sure we're choosing the right carbs. And all the fruits and vegetables that we've just been talking about just now, those are carbs, and those need to be the carbs that you focus on. You need them because you need to eliminate, you know, like go to the bathroom. You need to do that, and you need to do that every day. And in order to do that, you need 25 grams of fiber every day in your diet. One fruit or vegetable, one serving of fruits or vegetables is only going to give you about 3 grams of fiber. So you see how we're getting back to needing 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day? You see how that makes perfect sense? And one of the things about having a healthy gastrointestinal tract is that if you do not, you are going to be at a high risk of having bowel cancer. That is not a pretty thing. If you've ever seen somebody who's had gastrointestinal cancers, you'll know that is probably one of the worst ones that you can get. So 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. You want to keep your blood glucose levels low though, so you want to avoid the simple carbs. You want to choose the whole grains, the things that say multigrain on the package. Just avoid those entirely, because that doesn't mean anything. You want to avoid anything that has added sugar, anything that has the white flour or anything like that. All of that is going to be no good for you. And then a serving size of grains is going to be smaller than you think, just like with your vegetables. So a serving size of bagels is a half a bagel. a half a small bagel. A serving size of pasta is actually a half a cup. Serving size of potato is about the size of a mouse. When have you last seen a potato that small? Serving size of rice is a half a cup. So yes to carbs, but know what the serving sizes are. Go for the whole grains and focus on the fruits and vegetables. And then for your kids, make sure that if you're choosing juices for them, that you're choosing the ones that are no sugar added. If you're using preserves, you want to make sure that it's actually real fruit preserves, or you can even make your own. And for us, add a salad plate to your dinner in the evenings. Watch out for the starchy carbs and focus on the carbs that are your fruits and your vegetables. Make sense? Yeah.
I think what's hard is that there's so many conflicting reports. I was just on the internet and there's something called the Trim Down Club. And they were saying that there are 5 things that you want to definitely avoid. And the very first thing on their list was wheat bread. And they said, use multigrain. So I think that, things like organic and that, you have to be so careful about what your sources are that you get confused about what am I really supposed to eat and not eat.
Well, whole grain, you can't confuse whole grain and multigrain, because whole grain means that the kernel is whole when they put it in. Multigrain could just mean that they get a whole bunch of different types of grain and mix them together, but they're all processed. So that's a distinction that you want to make. Let's talk a little bit about food from animals. So like I said, I'm not a vegetarian, but I really do advocate a plant-based diet. There are advantages to eating meat of different sorts. For one thing, it's a complete protein, so you're getting all 9 essential amino acids. Soy has the same advantage. For people who are vegetarian, they tend to have to be very focused on making sure they're getting their iron, vitamin B, and calcium from wherever, a supplement or something like that. Whereas if you do eat meat, you will get these from your meat products. But I think we eat a lot more meat than we think we need, a lot more meat than we actually do, because only 10 to 35% of your caloric intake actually needs to be protein. What you need to be focused on is eating more carbs. And again, we're not talking about having a French fry fest. I'm talking about your fruits and vegetables. And there are some studies now that are showing that patients who have a plant-based diet, patients who eat less of meats, are actually at lower risk of having things like cancers and other kinds of inflammatory conditions. So that's just something to keep in mind. As far as healthy oils and fats are concerned, you're definitely going to want to reduce the fats from animals. So you're going to want to go for the leaner cuts of meat when you're choosing your meats. You're going to also want to avoid anything that says vegetable oil, because that's just not good for you. If you are choosing oils, we want you to think of olive oil. Some kinds of canola oil are good. Fatty fish, like your salmon, your mackerel, those sorts of fishes, anchovies, sardines, those are really, really good sources of oil. And also, I recommend for most people to have either flaxseed or a fish oil supplement. Yes, miss?
I was gonna say, like, I don't eat beef or pork or anything like that, but I eat a lot of salmon and raw almonds to make up for them.
That's what I do too. So we're right on the same page with that. She was just saying that she eats not meat, but she does eat fish and nuts, and that's where she gets her protein from. And I was just saying that that's pretty much what I do too.
One of the things when you say almonds, is that sometimes people think almonds, it could be those salted and all that, but I think it's more the raw almonds and not just almond because it says almond.
Yes, that's true too.
This is where the conflicting information comes in, because I was always under the impression that walnuts, they said, I've heard that walnuts, then almonds, but walnuts were always the most complete nut.
So walnuts are fantastic. They really, really are. I love walnuts on my salad. I like the taste of almonds a little bit better, but walnuts are fantastic. Listen, don't get caught up on which nuts are better than which other nuts. We just know that some have a higher fat content than others, and so like things like your peanuts and your cashews, those tend to be fattier. And then peanuts aren't really nuts, they're legumes, so they're in a totally different category too.